Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are building a artist's dream residence. Now it's kind of an odd name. The reason I didn't say dream home was because there's other stuff on the lot. Anyway, as you can see, we are making another tiny home from a floor plan. Like I said in another one of the builds I did like this. This is one of my favorite pastimes. I'll just find a floor plan online and remake it. I did have to change this one up quite a bit. I had to make it a little bit deeper, just because the roof was not working out. You'll see that I struggle with the roof a lot in the lofted area because I can't add walls for the lofted area because of how small it is. So I have to just make it a loft inside of the roof. The lighting is a bit odd, but you'll see it come together. I end up giving up on the little pokey out bits. Those I use the Strangerville, which inspires the rest of the roof, but then I get rid of them. But you'll just see me mess around. This was built just yesterday, the 2nd of August, I believe. That or the 1st. And it was a really fun build to make. It actually took me a lot longer than this size house usually takes me. It took me about 3.5 hours. So this is a 15-minute build sped up times 14. Otherwise it would be really long, but I also fidget around with this with the lofted area because lofts are some of the harder things to do. I had to compromise quite a bit. I wanted to add a proper fence with like a gate kind of thing, but I ended up not being able to do that because it would cut through the roof. So I make it like one of the flat get to work fences with a ladder. I had to extend the walls right there for the ladder because it wouldn't place on the edge. So the floor plan isn't exactly the same, but it is basically. Anyway, I started making this color scheme as soon as I picked out the front door, and I made it very red. It's a very red home. The roof is a nice stone color. I chose a stone instead of a siding for the roof because on the inside from the lofted area you'd see the stone as well because you can't paint one side and the other side in the Sims of the roof. So I just made it stone and then carried the stone down inside. But if that doesn't make sense, you will see later. Anyway, I start already making the outside. I knew I wanted a bunch of vines on this side, but it looked way too like preset when I used the trellises. So I end up using just vines and let it crawl up the side of the house. As you could briefly see, that's where I extended the stone down so it didn't look as weird. That's where I do end up placing a fireplace. And I also put the same stone on the other side where the fridge, oven, and cabinets will be for the kitchen. I start with this really nice Dream Home Decorator set, but then I remember about the Country Kitchen kit, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to use that when I was planning. So I end up using the black swatch, and since the cabinets in the black swatch kind of like blended into the floor, I gave it the nice Country Kitchen stone floor, which actually looks really good. I will applaud the Sims team for that. I add these 2 racks. They don't have a lot of real cabinets besides the bread box, but they have dishes and pots and pans hanging, and this one nice cabinet in the corner because I was unsure if Sims were actually able to use the counter on the end next to the sink and under the bread box, so I added an extra cabinet just in case. I have not play tested this house yet. Some things might not work, but I will probably fix that before I do anything posting wise onto the gallery. But we're already on the bathroom. It went really fast just because of how tiny it was. I chose this nice black tile. Now, as you can see, as you probably noticed when I was putting the tile down, this house is on a foundation. But it's not an actual foundation game-wise. I actually use a platform, and the house is medium wall height, but the platform goes up 4 notches, so it looks like it's a little taller than a small wall height from the inside. So it cuts off bits of the wallpaper, but I had the fireplace, and as you can see, I'm already on the inside. I start with this rug, but I didn't think it matched the color scheme. I wanted to keep it red. However, the room seems to be a little more pink than red. I start with this My First Pet Stuff rug. It is actually a very nice rug. I want to add that. I know there's a lot of hate with the My First Pet Stuff stuff pack. And I don't like it as much either, especially gameplay. But however, some of the stuff, as you can see here, I actually considered using because it looks really nice. I also wanted to do Simlicy's little trick with the 2 Parenthood sofas next to each other to make it longer, but I decided that this sim probably didn't need it. I tried making this lot off the grid, but it was not going to work. Plus, that sink from Country Kitchen does not go well with the window. Anyway, I need a fire alarm, and I'm pretty sure the fire alarm is not off the grid. I would like a fire alarm, and some of the other stuff didn't look as good off the grid, so I ended up removing that lot challenge. I honestly scrolled through the Get Famous for a while until I paused the recording and went to check my other build because there was a little corner piece this corner piece right here that I was looking for. I didn't know where it was, and I thought it would look perfect behind the sofa. So I went over to my other build, the Dollhouse Fashionista, that hopefully I posted right before this build, and because it used the same corner piece. Anyway, we've got that. It's just going by so fast. This is such a zoomed up build, but we add a small TV just because I add a small TV just because even though this artist painter is usually preoccupied in their little shack that you'll see later behind the house, they also want a TV just to keep their fun up. Anyway, I also messed around a while with the chandelier, trying to get it at the right height. When I did end up getting it at the right height, from like physically, numberly counting how tall it went, I realized that this was the wrong kind of chandelier, and it did not go far enough. So I end up changing the chandelier for an island living one that went down just a wee bit longer. This one right here, I make it a different swatch, and bingo bango bongo, I move up into the loft. I want to add this Get Famous plant, but it kept clipping with the roof, so I end up removing it, I think. Yeah, I do. I add this Dream Home Decorator bed with a dresser put into it. Now, I understand it would be a little difficult to get into that dresser, and the person living here probably didn't use the top drawers, and it's also probably not functional in game, but I think it looks nice. And I add the drawings, and this is when I start working on the outside. The outside took me very, very long. I had some problems with the stairs, so I tried to make this step down. I still end up making a step down like this. I just don't add the roof to it. I try making a roundabout like porch, but that doesn't work. I end up changing the grass to make it look nicer. I debated moving it to Oasis Springs, but I did not end up doing that. I just add this little picket fence. I keep the picket fence in some places, but it doesn't go fully around the house just because I still wanted it to be pretty natural looking. But as you can see, I got a very nice white picket fence. Like I said, it does not go that far back, but it does go pretty wide. Actually, no. Anyway, I add a tree. There's only actually 2 trees on the lot, which is not normal for me. I usually add lots of trees to the lot. But as you can see, I am using this new pool tool. Sorry, the lake pond tool, which was released a while ago. Because like I said, I'm recording this voiceover on the 3rd of August. My Fashionista dollhouse was recorded way before the patch, so this is my first video using the patch. I've tried making things with the lake before, but it was all way too complicated, so I did the build first. Now, what is this weird thing? It's called Tool. If you guys did not know, I like using Twisted Mexies, custom content mods to help improve my game. I almost every time I make a build, you will see that I have his Better Build By mod installed and being used, because it just helps me navigate the debug menu a lot better. But I'm making these couple boulders, and with Build By, he also has Tool, which is another well-known one of his. And I get that one. I don't use it often just because it's really complicated for myself to understand. I don't use it much, but I'm like, these things are floated and are floating because the bushes weren't on the floor because of the terrain manipulation. And I saw somewhere else that you can just use Tool to fix it. So I made sure I had Tool and I started working on it. I only used it for some of the things. I made sure everything was on the ground, but that's it. I didn't use it to do any crazy stuff. But as you can see, the lawn is already almost done. Of course, there's a lot of finishing touches because we still have like 4 minutes left. But we had some trash bins around the sides. Now, I use a lot of get together, and that's because this lot is actually based in Windenburg, which is one of my favorite places to build just because it's so beautiful looking. Now you can see I'm making this shack. What might this shack be? Well, it is an art shack, you see. That rhymed. Wow. It's an art shack because this person is a painter, so I wanted to give them a place where they can put all their painty stuff. I added some windows, but they don't look good. So I changed them out. It only has 2 windows, and it's positioned towards the river, so it's a very beautiful view to paint. I gave them a skylight. It's a really tiny skylight, but it's a skylight nonetheless. And they got lots of painting debug stuff and a painting already queued up. They got some painting books. I used my OMSP shelf. If you guys did not know, the OMSP shelf made by Amobe. I don't know how to spell it. I think I might, but I'm not going to say it. They made an OMSP shelf. It is used for cluttering, and it is super handy. Go look up the OMSP shelf. I very much recommend it. This is where I go through my glass house phase, where I want to make the entire roof glass. Don't worry, that's not how it ends up being. I just end up making it have a tiny 1x2 skylight. I use Little Simsy's method of a skylight by splitting the roof in half, and you'll see it right here. I split the roof in half, add these side bits, and put the skylight in the middle. One problem I have with her method is that the roof always seems to get whacked up. So it's just a very wonky roof. One side fixed itself, the other side did not. So I end up just making it not have any like hangovers, like bits that hang over the side, which doesn't look as good. But at least it fixed the roof. I add a little desk, and the build is nearly done. I'm just doing some terrain paint. If you guys did not know, I love terrain paint. Terrain paint is awesome, and I always do it last. I don't understand you when you do the terrain paint first. I will never understand you. But I'm adding these lights. You'll see in the screenshots, I add some lights on the right side of the front yard. They don't light up for some reason. I think it might be because there are too many lights on the lot. I'm not sure though. I tried everything. Anyway, terrain paint. I always do that last, just like I always make nooks in every build. Nooks! Nooks are awesome. The nook in this house is basically the little shack, but it's also the little nook in the living room where there's a little second painter's easel, if you didn't catch that the first time around. Also, if you also didn't catch it, I used a debug clay sculpture. It is interactable, I believe. It's just the clay thing. Stay around for the screenshots. I add some things, and then I give it a description. Please stay around for the screenshots. Thank you.